I could never have thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing, standing in front of some of these audiences. We had 2,100 people at the Glasgow one. It's huge. I would never have seen myself doing this.
So how did the live show come about? Because you hear true crime and live show, and it's hard not to think, oh, hang on, how is that good? Is that all right? Is that gratuitous? How have you made it so that, because you put victims at the heart of everything that you do, because you work with victims now, you worked with victims in the police force. So how have you made it not, exploitative?
I know where you're coming from, and that's something that I've always felt strong about. All the work I did was about victims, the search for the truth, finding out the truth for victims. And one of the things that I have found with doing, before I've been doing this, the Makings of a Murderer show, I still do TV programmes, I still do stuff on TV, but I'm very selective. I make sure that there's a proper balance, because too often we don't remember the names or the faces of the victims. And the balance that I have is about the victims. And this show, I think there's still tickets available for that one tonight in the Corn in Cambridge here. That is a real strong thing, and a lot of it. We've had loads of reviews, loads of stuff on social media, and that is the thing, that people like the balance, because there's. You mentioned it there about true crime. There's a lot of true crime out there, and rightly so, because we should never forget what these killers have done, but we should never forget what they've done to the victims, and that is the thing.
One of the first times we met, because we have met before, during our sort of
so
crime
it's good to meet
work.
You personally in the studio.
And one thing, I know, yeah. So we've done events together where I've hosted sort of round tables with former police officers, crime experts, and there's always that balance right, whether it's in the media, whether it's in true crime books, of highlighting what someone has done and yet not sensationalising them.
Not glamorising
and that's
the killer.
A really tricky balance, isn't it? So how have you put this show together then? Where do you even start? Did someone come to you and say, do you want to do a live tour?
Yes. What happened was I was doing a smaller event, and I was going round places and speaking about it, and it was a different type of thing altogether. And it was last year in November, actually, a company called The Entertainers from Canvey Island contacted me. James Taylor, who owns the company, he does tribute acts, right? Tribute acts.
What did you think? They wanted you to be like a Taggart tribute act?
No. What was interesting, he had never delved into this before.
Right.
They do huge tribute acts throughout the UK, and he contacted me because he had heard that I was doing a small tour, and asked me, could I do this? And I said, well, yes, it has to be, properly balanced. We can't glamorise it, and it's called a show, and there's a lot of stuff on it, on the stage. There's music, there's introduction, there's me coming in, but the real seriousness is there. And one thing I noticed, and last night it was in Newport in Wales, and it was quite a small, it was about 500 people at it. It was a small intimate theatre, and I like to see the lights so I can see the people, and the people are sitting on edge.
There's
They're
the police officer. You want to see the whites of everyone's eyes.
That is the thing. Yeah, some of the places there's big lights in your face, and you can't see anything. I like to be able to see it. So what happened with James of The Entertainers contacted me and says, right, let's get our act together. And I spent time with them putting it together. I wrote all the stuff, and we sat together with their production team, and we put it together, and that's where we are.
So is it kind of like an evening with? Are we talking about your cases or famous cases in general that you've got a take on?
Yeah, it's not an evening with. It's the thing that the problem is, something if you have a big audience in some of these events, like Liverpool, there's 1,300 people, and we're going back there on the 9th of July. They want us back.
Oh my goodness!
So
okay.
that was in the.
This is never going to end for you.
In the M&S Arena. Yeah, we're going back this year. So some of the things is, you think, is it an evening with? Can you ask questions? You can't open it up, because it only focuses on the person that's asking that question. So we have a facility, my own social media person, Catherine, and the Entertainers social media people, we monitor what comes in. So people go online and they put in questions, and I thread them in through the narrative later on. So it's me speaking about common themes, the killer, the concealing the no-body murders, feel strongly about that, and you'll be aware of Helen's Law, and I mention Helen's Law. I talk about cases where people try and dispose of the murder, because Peter Tobin, that's what he did. He buried bodies.